Really excited to have you. Everybody, this is episode 142 of Tech Sales Insights. Really excited to have Jill Harris with us today, VP of Sales for North America for GoTo. Probably like me, you've said, who the heck is GoTo? And it's the rebranded Log Me In. So I think good name affiliation there. She's got an awesome title topic called Top Mindset Habits to be Successful in the Selling Environment. So definitely look forward to that. And we've got Alexander Group as our sponsor today. I consider them, they're our kind of go-to-market consulting sponsor of Sales Community. The way I describe Alexander Group, if you think about Bain & McKinsey as kind of white collar, expensive, take forever, no disrespect, but Alexander Group's kind of more blue collar, faster, kind of gets in and out with some amazing projects that they can do. And we'll hear more about some work that they had done with GoTo and Jill as well. And also always brought to you by Sales Community. For those that are members, thanks. For those that are not, Tucker will throw up a free link where you can go ahead and join. You could see some great content that we have on the site, information from our sponsors, podcasts, and some other cool stuff. So Jill lives in Winchester. She has 2 teenage boys, although you don't look old enough for that. I don't be allowed to say that anymore. But Liam and Jack. Interests are, besides work and family, are snowboarding, yoga, and meditation, and also an amateur mixologist kind of specializing in tequila, which is amazing. And any favorite current tequila drink that you have?
So I am currently making pineapple jalapeno spicy margaritas, where I infuse tequila with jalapeno and pineapple. It's quite delicious.
Awesome. Was that one of those things where you kind of actually marinate it, or you just kind of make it real time?
That's exactly right. You do. You marinate it. Oh. So I have a nice little kit that I use to infuse both the pineapple and the jalapeno.
Oh, awesome. I'd love to hear more about that, actually. Anyway, so we actually just said recently met and don't really know each other. We're at a Gong event last July, but obviously you were impressive enough that I said, okay, got to get you on the podcast. So one mutual friend we have is Pat Osborne, who's a exec at HPE. And Pat says, I know Jill very well. Her boys are the same age as my older 2. Great family. Jill does it all. Incredible sales leader, transforming her company's sales culture, elevating young talent, all while delivering amazing results. She's also a super mom, very involved in her community and family. So pretty good all around, right?
It's pretty, very, very kind of him. Thank you.
And then Bob Spina, who was at Gong at the time, also was at the event and said that he remembers you from the dinner and met you for the first time then, but you really impressed him as being a dynamic person and a great leader. So pretty cool there as well, and which I would be in agreement with those comments. So jumping into the questions here. So you went to UVM. So for those not familiar with the abbreviation, kind of University of Vermont, great spot there up in Burlington. And you actually were a psych major, right?
I was a psychology major. Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do at first, but after I took my first Psychology 101 course, I was sucked in. Enjoy talking to people, enjoy listening. And the topic today is all about mindset, which is a lot of psychology, right? About how the mind works.
Perfect. And then your first job out of school was in New York with Donna Karen?
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so it wasn't originally sales. And so I had a friend that worked at Donna Karen, always liked fashion, and so I started there in their events department, which was a really fun first job.
Awesome. And then can you kind of quickly go through your career from there?
Yeah, so dabbled in kind of the fashion world, early on. After Donna Karen, went to Kate Spade. And liked it, but realized, hey, I really want to make money, and how can I leverage my, major in psychology? I enjoy speaking to people. I enjoy building relationships, bonding, and so I was like, I want to try out sales. So essentially, I moved to Boston and to get my feet wet, started at a startup in sales. And I'm going to age myself here, but it was for a company selling online textbooks. So,
hey, at least they're online. When I started, online didn't even exist. So.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is when, Wi-Fi wasn't really, great. And we were just getting started. Everything was just moving online. And so it was Harvard professor had started, digitizing online books and kind of got my feet wet starting in sales there, and really liked it, really enjoyed it, found success. And then jumped over to Forrester Research, really where I spent the bulk and early years of my career, 15 years as an individual seller at that company, leading analyst and consulting firm, and really was, very successful as an individual rep, and then kind of had the choice to say, do I want to, keep building myself as an individual rep, or do I want to be a leader? And I do really have a passion in developing and coaching people. And so I tried out leadership and really loved it. And then kind of blossomed and moved up the chain there. And so spent 15 years there, and then figured, hey, I really want to break into a new industry, specifically technology. And that is where I went to GoTo, and I've been there for the last 8 years. And so started as an inside sales manager and moved my way up to managing enterprise teams, and then to a director, and now the VP, overseeing North American division. And so been in sales. It's been a wild ride, and as you can see, really spent my sales career at 2 companies, just moving up the ladder. So I haven't really job hopped a ton, really loyal person. And again, really have just moved up within each company.
Yeah. I mean, you don't see, 23 years with 2 companies. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, it drives me crazy these days where it's okay to say the kids, right? I mean, every year they're changing jobs. I mean, like, why you switch? Why you got an extra 20K here, this or that? I mean, there's kind of no loyalty that gets built up, and then in this crazy environment, you just think how much really are they losing when they think they're gaining.
Right, exactly. And so that's why I stuck it out, and each time moved up. I think you can learn from each position and get better and better and grow within the organization. Obviously, you have to find the right company in order to do that, which I've been lucky enough to have. But to me, if you keep hopping all the time, you can't always get that success that you want.
Oh yeah, and I always say the first thing I would say, grass is not always greener, right? And then you say, okay, why do you want to leave? I'm like, okay, well, if you talk to your manager about some of those issues, well, no. I'm like, well, if you're going to leave, you got nothing to lose anyway. So why don't you see, and more times than not, whatever the I call stupid issues are, get fixed, and then it works out. But again, years ago, you would never think about doing that. Just it's crazy the way people are these days. But anyway, so now tell us more about GoTo, kind of what you do, and then maybe kind of the transition from LogMeIn to GoTo. What was involved there?
Yeah. So we're a $1 billion SaaS company, probably one of the largest that not many people have heard of. We always say we're a house of brands, but trying to be a branded house. We've changed our name a few times. So I started again 8 years ago. We were just LogMeIn, and so much smaller, and we've grown pretty substantially organically, but also through acquisition. And so we merged with Citrix. So LogMeIn is really, the side of LogMeIn is really the group that I oversee. Kind of our heritage is in IT remote solutions, remote management and monitoring solutions, where it's break fix remote support, working with helping to streamline help desk and service desks, right? So when any of your devices break down, we have the tools to help fix those pretty quickly. And so that's kind of the heritage is remote support, remote monitoring and management. On the LogMeIn side, when we merged with Citrix, it brought a whole slew of collaboration tools, GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, GoToTraining, and acquired Jive, which is GoTo. So when we really think about kind of the coming together of both of those, GoTo now, again, formerly Log Me In, is making IT and business communications easy, right? So they're SaaS-based in the cloud, very usable, secure tools that help IT and business communications very easy today for anyone that uses them. And so I oversee the sales team in North America for the remote solutions tools that we have. And so around 400 million in revenue. But my group in particular is focused on landing new logos, and then focused on cross-selling, upselling our base of customers. So we have around 104,000 customers globally.
That's it?
Yeah. We have a lot.
So Citrix, is that the one that was based like South Carolina, North Carolina? That's Citrix?
Yeah, so Citrix was actually in Florida and Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, and then they had a West Coast in Santa Barbara.
Because Mark Ferre was a friend on the advisory board, as are you, sales community. He was a CRO there for a long time. I didn't realize you guys had merged in. So is Citrix still operating as Citrix, or it's all under the GoTo brand now?
So yeah, so I will clarify. So Citrix is spun off essentially their GoTo line, which merged with Log Me In. And that's where they spun off GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, GoToTraining, GoToAssist, and the whole GoTo line.
I mean, I'm just thinking of my old days of selling and working with IT departments. I mean, basically, you do all the headache stuff that they hated dealing with, right? They call an exec, it's Friday night, hey man, whatever's not working. So basically, you handle kind of all that stuff that IT departments hate, but is obviously so crucial for efficiency and operating of any employee, whether it's bottom of the ranks to the top, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's any IT department, right, needs to service their employees, right? And anytime a device breaks down, it's getting even harder and harder with the remote, workforce in terms of, not being able to control the environment, right, and not being able to walk up to the help desk, right? And so anytime your computer breaks down, Wi-Fi's not working, printer's not working, your mobile device isn't working, you can't get access to an application. Our tools are there to help fix those so you can get back to work. And then our tools are also used in many situations for tech companies' customers where those devices, again, also break down. So it's about making it easy to work, right? Tools are constantly breaking down as much as, again, we have all of the technologies at our fingertips. They're not always seamless and not always working, right? And so our tools help to fix that when they break down.
So you sell, you're not industry specific, so you're kind of SMB up to enterprise, really everybody and anybody.
That's right, exactly. Now we have some tools that are better for SMB. So we just launched GoTo Resolve, which is an all-in-one IT support platform that's more geared towards SMB. And so it includes, again, remote support, but also proactively monitoring and managing all endpoints and devices to make sure that IT departments can proactively heal them and predict ahead of time when they're going to break down. And also integrates with ticketing and asset management. So a big problem with a lot of IT professionals in these organizations is they can't keep track of all of their assets, right? They're like, how many do I have and where are they with this distributed workforce? Which ones are aging out, and need to be replaced, right? And so this all-in-one platform does that all. It's kind of an all-in-one tool, essentially unified endpoint management, also securing the endpoints for these IT professionals. And so we have that for SMB, and then we have enterprise products such as Rescue that are used by some of the largest tech providers globally. And so like Lenovo, for example. And so they use it for, again, very robust help desk for, again, anytime any of the computers break down and need to be fixed.
Oh, Awesome. So I don't know if you know Vlad. He was on, I don't know, probably 4 or 6 weeks ago on the podcast. He's one of the group presidents there at Lenovo. But good person, maybe opportunity for you to network.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you think about so obviously, congrats, awesome stuff going on, great market, great timing with kind of COVID, work from home, everything else. But any one or two challenges in particular that you have on your kind of go-to-market side?
Yeah, so I would say, one of our challenges is, I would say, we have rebranded, right, from LogMeIn to GoTo, right? And so it's really constantly bringing that awareness, right, to the market of who we are. And then I would say, one of our challenges right now, which I think is for many sales reps specifically in technology, is just the economic headwinds, right, of what we're experiencing right now with with inflation and with companies kind of right sizing, I would say, and really scrutinizing every dollar is, right now it's all about, showing the ROI of our solutions and the problems we're solving, because the wallets are tight right now in terms of companies wanting to spend. And so that's definitely, I would say, a challenge for us right now.
Great. And then I would imagine kind of the concept of kind of value selling, right? Everybody's trying to figure out, CFOs, hey, what can we cut? What can we cut? So I assume you probably have some type of crisp kind of elevator speech. I like to say, if you're in the elevator with the CFO and a customer and they say, why should we buy from you? Or, why are you helping us? Why should I not cut you? Kind of what's your elevator pitch there on the value you bring?
Yeah. So so we provide all-in-one IT support to drive employee productivity and customer productivity, which can increase your customer satisfaction scores and drive loyalty, but also just make your employees more productive each and every day. And so with our all-in-one solution, you're getting essentially saving costs with one platform, all consolidated in one. And so we do have a very high ROI. I think what we've seen with many of these IT departments is they have multiple tools that are redundant, all doing a little piece here or there. And so GoTo Resolve, our all-in-one platform, is really meant to help you consolidate onto one to save costs at the end of the day and drive up employee productivity, as well as customer satisfaction scores.
Awesome. So kind of net helping drive revenue and cost savings.
Exactly.
Perfect. Yeah, awesome. And then you doing any work in the channel?
We have just started. I would say this is a new motion for us, and we're trying to drive roughly 20% of our business through the channel. Right now, it's around 8%, so it's very small. So it is something that we're trying to build out and really grow. Having that channel ecosystem is extremely important for us to grow. And we are heavily invested in our planning right now for next year on building out our partner ecosystem and just our integrations within our products, and building out those strategic partnerships, as it is definitely an important part of how we're going to grow next year.
So is that like kind of the CDWs of the world, or kind of how do you look at kind of who are the channel partners you're looking to work with?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it is, CDW, SHI, Insights, those large resellers. But then also we are looking at managed service providers and bringing on new managed service providers, specifically carved out in that market. And then looking at more, I would say, partnerships. So, for example, we just launched a partnership with Logitech, and we're integrated to help remote into Logitech devices. And so going to market where we're both looking at selling to each other's base. And so doing more of those integration type partnerships with other technology companies as well.
Awesome. Great. So the title topic, top mindset habits to be successful in the selling environment. And kind of as a precursor to this, you're especially passionate because you're a psychology major at UVM, right?
That's right. Yeah, that is right. I've always been fascinated with just how mindset impacts behavior. Also why I'm really big into meditation, right? And so just, understanding, how you view yourself, the world around you, the thoughts that you have each and every day. A lot of that is meditation, and just, getting deeper rooted into understanding your own beliefs, right? And just your inner talk track, right? And the things that you say, right, about yourself, you tell yourself, but just overall, just how you believe, what those beliefs are, and how that shapes your sense of world and your sense of self.
Awesome. And I should say, for those watching along, you can either hear us or see us. We cannot see you. But if you want, feel free to post any comments or ask any questions as we're going here. We got Tucker behind the scenes. Thanks for your help, Tucker. And he will pull those up. So feel free to make any comments or ask any questions. I should have asked that before. So thinking about mindset, kind of how do you define it? What is it?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great question, Randy. So mindset is a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. So it's what you think in your inner talk track that you say to yourself each and every day, but it influences how you think, feel, and behave. And there's different types of mindsets, for example. It's essentially your set of beliefs, your belief system.
And why is that important? And maybe kind of give two examples of maybe different type of kind of mindsets.
Yeah. So the two mindsets that I think of that are coined by Carol Dweck, who's a psychologist, is fixed versus growth. And so there's been a lot of research out there on the two different topics, but I'll walk through kind of what that is. So a fixed mindset is a belief that's very rigid and I would say rather closed. It's a belief that you don't really have control over changing your outlook. It is what it is. And a growth mindset is very open. And it's you can change or have an impact or control over the situation with effort and practice. So an example of a fixed mindset is this belief system that you might have to say, I'm not good at numbers, so I can never excel at math. It's just not in my DNA. I wasn't born that way, and it is what it is. I can't change it. Versus a growth mindset is, I'm not great at math right now, but if I study math and put a lot of time into it and practice over and over, maybe get, a tutor, I can excel and I can get good at it. So it's really just about this belief that you have control over the situation and you can make an impact on it. And the reason that's so important is, again, your belief is basically turns into a behavior. And so having a positive growth mindset really is important because in sales, you get knocked down all the time, right? You experience a lot of failure where people are constantly saying no to you. And so if you have, this mindset of, I'm not fulfilled in my work, my product is what it is, it's not going to get better, it's outside of my control, you're going to show up to sales conversations, where maybe you're not as patient, maybe, again, it's impacting, you're not going to, have that next call, but you're getting frustrated easily and you just don't feel like you have control over the situation, right? Versus a positive growth mindset, you're looking at everything saying, yeah, I might fail and I'll probably get a no on this, but what can I learn from it, right? How can I bounce back? How can I tweak the situation? And in each scenario, you're more curious, engaged, and patient, but really embracing, I would say, the failure and learning from it.
Wow. So I kind of am visualizing in my head, fixed mindset, kind of more like an Eeyore. E-I-O. Yeah. I don't know if that's like going too far, but it's kind of like, I've experienced over the years, sometimes these big company people are just kind of stuck. They can't do anything. They don't want to do it. The culture is not trying to do anything to change. Is that kind of stereotype make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's just kind of always looking at the negative and saying, I don't have control over it. It's kind of saying, there's nothing I can do to impact this. And it's this belief, right, that you can't change your situation. It's always either the product or not enough leads or not enough pipeline. It's not you, it's external factors, versus having an open mindset is, okay, yeah, there's certainly going to be obstacles with product, with the market and not having enough pipeline. But what can I do to control the situation? What's the silver lining? How can I get better and more engaged and more creative in how I sell? And basically understand the needs of the customer, right, and get better at my craft each and every day, so I can improve. But it's embracing the failure and saying, I am going to get knocked down. These obstacles are going to be in my way each and every day, but I'm going to learn from them.
Yep. Yeah, totally. Totally resonates for sure. And then, how as a leader, then, do you have any ways of how you can be aware in terms of people on your team, kind of which mindset they have, and then can you kind of coach them to improve?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so, you're aware as a leader based on, I would say, the behaviors, right, of the reps, and even things like the tools that they use, right? So, for example, we're a big user of Gong. And so you can tell, right, for those reps that have that growth mindset, they're listening to their own calls more. They're listening to their peers' calls more. They're asking to be coached more. They're more engaged in enablement, giving feedback, and just, giving ideas of, hey, can we try this or that, or this hasn't worked. So I'd say engagement probably is the number one thing that we look at, right, in terms of seeing if a sales rep has a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, right, is someone that's, again, saying,
I don't need it.
Product's full, and we, in our organization, in sales, I want to be clear to say, you should give feedback, and it's not to say you can't be negative. You can be negative. It's just you can't have that hold you back, right? Meaning you can give the feedback on here's what's not working with product. Like you have to be very vocal to product on what isn't working or what you need to see more of, right? But it's kind of what's that solution, or what's, after this is bad, it's like, what's your idea and what's your ask to fix that, or what's the solution behind that?
Yeah, I think we may have come up with a new Gong tagline, something to the effect of the best performing reps have a growth mindset because they leverage Gong.
Yeah.
Gong, as a rep, you're going to be top. You're going to be a top performer, or something like that. And it's interesting culturally, I find now versus 10, 20 years ago, kind of the ability. So when I was growing up, I'm sure you were too, in sales. I mean, you're a sponge, you want to improve, you want to get feedback, you want to adjust and do all you can. But it seems like that's kind of fallen off a lot. And I saw something in the Wall Street Journal last week. They said, you can't give people feedback anymore. You have to call it feed forward. Mm. And it's like, you have to be kidding me. Like if you're a top performing, maybe some other function, but if you're in sales, right, you got to be improving all the time and improving your game, exactly. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's, this is our profession, and you need to get better each and every day. If you don't keep working on your skills and constantly tweaking, you're going to become stale, no matter what. And not just sales, any profession. You need to reach, again, your fullest potential. You need to constantly get better and evolve. And so understanding and working on that every day.
Yeah, it's amazing. And what about when you're kind of interviewing, right? Because everybody's going to theoretically, bring their A game. They aren't going to say I'm a complainer, I'm a whiner, or it's never my fault. But any ways to identify a growth versus a fixed mindset there?
So I think I'm thinking about some of the folks that we recently interviewed and brought on board.
You can always reference check, right? So it's the value of a reference check,
yeah.
Right? So if you're in the process and somebody that works for them, that's going to be something like, oh no, they're a pain. It's never their fault. They're a complainer. Okay, well, you're not going to hire the person anyway. But say if you don't have anything as obvious like that, is there any way to kind of suss that out?
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So asking questions around, walk me through a time where something didn't go your way, or it was a really big loss, and something that just failed. Right? What did you learn from that? Right? And how did you rebound? That will really give you a sense of, again, that person and how resilient they are, and again, maybe what they tweaked as a result of that. I think that's a really big one. I think the other one that comes to mind is just being curious, and asking questions like, what's the one thing at your company that just absolutely drives you nuts, right? That just kind of derails you. And
they come up with 10 things.
Yeah. And then,
we're done.
What are you doing about it? And then you can really quickly, again, you're kind of the belief system on, if they're blaming versus, this is, it is what it is, but here's what I'm doing about it. Because in these companies, again, there's always you're gonna get roadblocks no matter what. It's never gonna be.
Definitely. And then would you, depending upon how you do the kind of performance evaluations, again, I'm kind of old school. I'd have, things in writing so everybody knows what's going on. Would you ever go so far as kind of having discussions with people around if they have a fixed or a growth mindset or not?
I would say, we wouldn't probably pose it as fixed versus growth, but it's what can you control versus not control, and what's your overall, what's your attitude around solving the problem to be successful. And so we do that actually in our quarterly business reviews with our sales reps. Is we have them do a lot of analysis on their own kind of skill sets and just self-awareness and what they're doing to improve that. And then, when we do our enablement, which we do a lot of, a lot of it is, again, how are you improving your skills each and every day? How are you getting better? I think there's a lot of art in sales, and there needs to be more science. There's, a lot of winging it.
Well, in agreement. Absolutely. For sure. So we have, obviously, Jose has a growth mindset based on his question here. What advice would you give to someone with a European tech sales background who's reaching out to American CTOs for the first time? Is there a difference? So I'll take a stab at this. So probably before Jose was born, I opened up the EMC office in the UK. And did the same thing in Australia, and then had spent obviously a lot of time here, back in the States. And I'll take a different view than some. So a lot of times they'll say, "Oh, it's different selling here, it's different selling there," or if you're in New York City, uptown versus downtown. And I always like to say that I think people are people, so you have to be respectful, transparent to a certain degree, kind of understanding and listening. And not to be that everything's the same, but you kind of need to. Each person can be different in a lot of different ways. So I don't think it's really any different to me. Any of the different countries that I sold to, because you just have to be kind, considerate, and then if somebody is kind of super fast, want to hear it fast, and you got to kind of then you go on the fast train. If you can tell somebody's more chill, and you could have somebody be chill and Wall Street, which might be counterintuitive, or you could have somebody that's in, Edinburgh, Scotland, who then kind of, wants to go fast. But any other perspectives that you have on that, Jill?
I would agree with what you said. People are people. I would say, there might be differences in terms of, regulations, and, it depends on what you're selling to the European CTO versus the American, regulations. I think there's a stronger regulatory environment in Europe than there is in the US. But at the end of the day, so I think factoring that in terms of how that relates to what you're selling. But beyond that, I would say people are people. It's building that trust, building that rapport with are the same. It's just trying to find a way to do that And at the end of the day, when you're selling, it's about solving a business problem, right? And listening. And so it's the same whether you're European or American. It's just finding out what that problem is.
Totally. And depending upon if it's, it sounds like it may be more of an earlier stage company, but you definitely can spin your wheels. So, making sure you find out of your ICP, your ideal customer profile, kind of what's a sweet spot, what's the value prop, do you have references? When I was a little stupid thing, I was in England and basically the first rep for EMC, and then my the person I worked for runs Europe. He came in, he drew a circle around London. He said, Randy, just go there. You don't have to worry about flying, driving or flying kind of all over the place. If you just go there and do well and focus there, then you can do really well. So, sometimes if you're coming in, to the U.S., pick somewhere. If it's, if you're from Europe, obviously Boston, New York are pretty easy. The more face-to-face that you can do these days, I think that's a competitive advantage as well. And if you are European as well, that's kind of something of a unique profile. So it helped me as an American when I was in England or Australia at the time. Hey, it's kind of unique to have this American. I don't know anything about what he's selling, but hey, love to meet with an American. I'd say, kind of leverage that European angle as well, because that would be something unique that people would enjoy meeting with, that it's just not another normal American, if I'm allowed to say that. So perspective there. And then mention ICP. And I think since we have Alexander Group, so Jose, thanks for that question. Other people, if you comments or question, feel free to chime in and we'll get to them. So ICP, I know you'd mentioned earlier that Alexander Group had done some work for you around your ICP. Maybe explain a little bit more about kind of working with Alexander Group since they're our sponsor.
No. So we hired the Alexander Group to do some consultative work to do scoring of our customer account base to essentially across our ideal customer profile to really help us hone in. Again, we have over 100,000 customers to say which one is the ideal best fit with the highest propensity to buy with us, and so those are scored like an A, and it's an A through F. To really just ensure that the reps are focusing all of their time on the most opportunities, the most high valued accounts. And so they came in and scored every account in Salesforce, and we utilize that every day in our sales campaigns and sales plays in terms of how we do our outreach. And so they did a great job for us. So continue to use the methodology.
Wow, very, very cool. I over the years, I would do a kind of green zone, yellow zone, red zone. And you always get, sales teams that, I call it a red zone deal. Hey, it's a big opportunity, all that. Like, might be, but we got no chance of doing that for kind of all these different reasons. So don't waste your time. Right. So like same thing in your A to F, ideally you want to have the sales teams focus in the, A, B type accounts of those 104,000.
Exactly. Yeah. Like 80% of your revenue is going to come from like 20% of your accounts. And you need to find out which ones those are. Time is the most valuable asset, one of the most for sales folks, making sure that you're focused on the right accounts. And so Alexander Group helps us to do that. And so they did a great job with scoring our accounts for us and just helping us to hone in.
Awesome. Very cool. Now, what about as far as kind of lead gen, right? So you got all these accounts, you're trying to kind of upsell, supersize maybe the 70% of the accounts, 30% are kind of net new. So kind of what's your lead gen engine like?
Yeah, so we work with marketing, obviously, to support us, right, where they're running ABM, digital campaigns, social campaigns, email marketing campaigns. So they support us in bringing in leads for us. That primarily supports our new business team. It's a small amount for, I would say, our customer growth reps, but essentially bring in leads through webinars for our customer support team. So we have support from marketing, of course, and then a big portion is just our sales reps going outbound with their BDRs. So our new business team does a lot of outbounding, just cold source, calling in to find opportunities. Same with our customer growth, where they have an existing base of customers and they're building those relationships and cross-selling and upselling by just calling into those accounts. And then we have our new partner organization that we're building out, where we get sourced leads from those partner organization coming in as well.
Awesome. All right, cool. I'll talk offline. We have a couple companies I think could potentially help you there on your people that are doing the cold calling side. And then sales methodology. Actually, I have one I've not heard of before, customer-centric selling.
Exactly. Yes. Customer-centric selling. We just rolled this out this past year. And like many methodologies, I would say it's like, a mix of, I would say many different, but it puts the customer at the center, like it says, customer-centric selling, where really the crux of the methodology is, at the end of the day, understanding the role of the customer and the problem that they're trying to solve, and how your solution impacts that problem. And so we've rolled that out, and we're seeing really great success in terms of identifying, again, the customer problems. We write what is called like a champion letter, where early in stage 1 or 2, we coach the reps on identifying what that problem is. And then after the first call, summarize that back to the customer in terms of, here's the problem that you said to us. Here's how our solution fits in. Here's what your current environment looks like today, and here's what it will look like after after you've implemented a tool like ours. And so that's a really powerful tool, because a lot of assumptions are made in sales where you think you understand the problem, but you really need to validate that with the customer to make sure that you understood it correctly. And so that's an example of how to use it in early stages.
Wow, that's great. And then Gong functionality too. They help with their AI kind of do drafts of the recap notes as well.
Yes, the latest functionality, and it's escaping me because I'm not exactly sure what it's called, but it reformats all of the calls now into and it's amazing. It's we absolutely love it because and especially for leadership, where you're trying to quickly dive in and read the high level notes. It really summarizes in a great way. But the reps are doing a lot of copying and pasting to write those champion letters quickly.
Yeah. I mean, one of my pet peeves with the companies I'm working with these days is, I would always say, I'm not going to go to sleep until I do whatever thank you recap note, right? Because if you delay it, it just kind of tidal wave just builds up and you can never catch up. So people always, hey, Randy, you're always so prompt and so fast. Like, well, you have to be, because otherwise you just get totally destroyed. And it just bugs the heck out of me these days. It'll be like, 2, 3, 4 days till somebody does a recap note. I'm thinking, how disrespectful is that? Like, okay, if you can't get back to me with the thank you recap note, why the heck do I think you can support me or you can follow up, or if there's an issue or a problem, right?
Exactly. It's like you need to do it quickly. And time is money. It really is.
It's amazing. And then on your kind of the sales methodology, then that starts with your BDRs, I presume, right? When they first come in, and you use that in terms of helping to then kind of move them up in the organization?
That's right. Yes. Yeah. So we have quite a big BDR organization, and as they get better and grow their careers, they move up the ladder into the direct sales organization, and then sky's the limit. But yes, we've trained them all on the customer-centric selling, and that's where it starts. Right. So they're the main engine for us in finding those prospect opportunities. And getting us those new logos.
Wow, very cool. Sounds great. And you're still in. I know they're working from home, but still kind of based out of the Seaport in Boston.
We are. Yes. Yeah. We're our headquarters at our Seaport. We are. I would say more work from home and less in office, because we are.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. We're that's our mission, right? Is work from anywhere. And so we do have a lot of folks that our sales reps aren't near the Boston office. So I would say that on my team, it's only 20%. are near the Boston office, but we're really distributed throughout the U.S. So we really do embrace the work from home mentality, and the majority of our sellers do work from home and don't go in.
And presumably COVID was just a rocket ship for your business, I assume.
It was. It really created, I would say, a lot of pain for companies that were trying to support all of their employees across many different networks. And so it created a big challenge, and that's where our tools were able to really help support IT departments and supporting employees.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, I never knew how to do a Zoom or anything before, and now it's kind of just old hat for everybody. So Jose's on fire here. Let's get to him. He says, any advice for generating meetings at conferences when you don't have a booth? So I'll give a couple perspectives. So it drives me crazy. I went to different things. I'll say SaaStr last year, which is a SaaS big conference in the Bay Area. And I would intentionally walk around and people would not come up, right? And then, some companies that are, worthwhile actually could be a fit. And, I'm old school, but I go up and just say, why wouldn't you come up and talk to me or talk to anybody else? You're just standing there. And it's just the people that work booths, again, typically are just bad. And actually, I'm going to put this as I might be old school post for me. Because you got to come out and, not aggressive, but just talkative, engaging, and whatever your shtick is to qualify. So if you're not at a booth, I would say it's really also the same thing, right? So you would know by either the companies or titles or industries or things like that, Jose, kind of who are you going after? And you could say, hey, Jill, I'm Jose, how you doing today? So, as people walking around, they're going to be engaging unless you're running off to go give a presentation. So you have probably kind of 60 to 90 seconds to get somebody on the hook. Hey, did you know, we can help you if you're kind of struggling with work from home and you have IT issues, can I talk to you a little bit more? I'm just kind of making that up. So kind of being sharp and crisp, and you can get a lot of leads kind of doing things like that. And another creative thing I've done over the years is, depending if you have the relationships or not, but you kind of, instead of doing a booth, get a corner at a bar, which I recommend people at Dreamforce as an example, and say, hey, we're going to be here. You got food and drinks, and that is dirt cheap compared to actually having a booth, and it can be far more engaging. So those are a couple ideas. Any ideas you have, Jill?
I would say they're similar to what you suggested in that even if you have a booth, you need to get outside your booth. Just so it's almost like, again, a booth, obviously it does draw traffic, but it is all about work in the room. And it's really easy to do that. People want to talk at these events, right? And so it is honing an elevator pitch, getting curious, just striking up conversation. Hey, why are you here? Here's why. Here's where I'm attending the event. Do we have any synergies? Do you have a few minutes where I can walk you through what my company does to see again if there's a fit? Obviously honing exactly what that is, but at these events, people want to talk to people, and so. Just getting out there and striking up conversation. Do like the idea of getting a corner at the bar. I think that's a great one. People, drinks will always draw everyone in.
Tequila, mixologist, there's spicy pineapple tequila.
Yeah, exactly. Just ask them what their favorite drink is.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. All right. Well, time flies when you're having fun. Jill, you've been amazing. Lots of great insight. And I will definitely be much more conscientious and conscious around mindsets and having everybody have growth mindsets versus being a Eeyore. So thank you so much. Next week, we have on actually Tuesday, the 26th, Greg Casale, who's founder of Reveneer, and then Ryan Ressert, who's founder of Phone Ready Leads. The title topic is Sell More by Getting More Live Conversations with Your Prospects. So obviously, the more you can do to improve the hit rate when you're doing outbound calling, all the better. So Tucker, thanks for your help behind the scenes. Jose, thanks for the questions. Jill, thank you very much. Everybody have a great week.
Mandy, thank you so much for having me.